And our topic is going to be digitizing old photos, slides, and negatives. A little background on myself. I'm known as the PC guy. I'm the son of John Kreuzer here at Carondelet. John, they must be, have to transport him up, so maybe he had a little trouble there. We'll see. I retired after 40 years at 3M in their information technology. I'm an officer and presenter for the 3M Personal Computing Club for over 48 years. At its peak, we had 1,200 members. And I gave this presentation actually at 11:30 to 12:30 today. So this is my second presentation. I reused the presentations here. I mentioned I'm thrifty, not cheap. So if there's a lower cost solution or free software or free websites, I usually recommend that. Also, I do one-on-one free tech help. You can sign up for a 30-minute slot. I usually do it the first and the third Mondays of the month. And along with myself, there's Tom Strum that also does it from 2:30 to 4:30 on the second and the fourth Wednesday. And you can sign up at the front desk or call 5,000 there. The next meeting in January is going to be January 21st, and it's going to be on scams and cyber threats. So we'll go over that, how to spot some of the scams and some of the tools. Also, with my sister, my brother-in-law, and my dad, we put on a Fix-It Clinic, and the next Fix-It Clinic is going to be Monday, January 26th. So if you have any small appliances or anything, you can bring them in and we'll take a look. The handouts for this presentation and the recording of the presentation is out on the Carondelet website, and so you can go out there if you miss a meeting or want to revisit anything. It's out there. So let's get to the main topic, digitizing old photos, slides, negatives by myself. And don't let your memories hide from you and from everybody else. It's kind of a shame that we've taken all these memories and photos and they sit collecting dust, and we don't look at them enough. But you can make them. First step in doing that is to digitize them so that they can be viewed from anywhere on any device. And so that's the important thing, is when you're transferring them to digital, you're opening up a whole new world for everybody to be able to use. Yeah, hello, Donna. We've got a small group, so everybody can have their own table or area there. Don't keep them hidden away in albums that you look at every 10 years or 20 years or 30 years, or maybe you haven't looked at in a long time, or in slides that you no longer have a projector to show. There's no better time than right now to digitize. Don't be overwhelmed with the task to digitize. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. You aren't going to get all your photos and all your albums and all your slides done in an hour or a day or that. It is a process, but it can be a very fulfilling process. Start with a single photo album and go from there. Most people have a printer. That printer is also capable of scanning, and that works for scanning the photos. Then we'll talk about some options for scanning your slides and negatives if you've got those. Over the last 20 years, I've scanned and organized more than 15,000 images of my family, and believe it or not, I didn't go crazy. It took time, but I enjoyed creating and sharing those photos with the family. If you don't want to do it yourself, certainly you can have places that'll digitize your photos. Now, unfortunately, digitizing your photos, like at Astound down on Cleveland Avenue, they charge $1 to $2 per digital image. that can get very expensive if you've got hundreds or thousands of photos, and you still need to do the work. Even if you have them digitize your images, you still have to organize and share it and figure out what you're going to do there. So if I had gone the Astound route, my scans would have cost between $15,000 and $30,000 just to scan all those images in. So if you've got time and the interest there, it doesn't cost a lot, and you can actually do a lot there to share. So what do you need to share? As I mentioned, most people have a multifunction printer. This is a printer that I happen to own. It's a laser printer. It's a Canon model. It will print and scan. I bought it in 2019 for $210. You can manually scan one photo at a time, kind of in this flatbed, this glass deal, like a copy machine. Or it has an auto feed where you can take a stack of photos and scan it. It does a very good job. It's 600 dots per inch, and the maximum size of photo or document that it can scan is 8.5 by 11. Now, you can also use, if you have a smartphone or a digital camera, you can also use that to capture, digitize larger photos or pictures or documents that won't fit into the scanner. The package that I recommend for that, one of them is Google Photo Scan, and it's used to enhance your photos. So unlike just taking a picture with your camera on your phone, it has you take 5 separate pictures. It tells you where to move your camera, gets rid of glare, crops the image, changes the automatic edge detection. So in smart rotation, it has all these features in it. So this is an excuse me, a nice little app to help you do that for the bigger photos that you may be dealing with. One second here. Okay, so that's how you handle the photos and what you have. But chances are you may also have slides and negatives. If you have slides and negatives, you don't have to worry. It's not that hard to digitize them. What I use is a device. It's from Pile. It's a 22 megapixel film scanner. And I bought mine for about $60. This is what it looks like. It's a small little device. And it goes pretty fast with the scanning. It'll let you scan slides, negatives, black and white images, a 35 millimeter, 126, 110, and even has an adapter for Super 8 film stills that you can digitize. The way this device works is in the top of the little box here is a little camera. There's actually a little camera in there. Then you have a display here to show you what it's going to capture. So you put your slide in, you can see the image on the LCD display, you push one button, and it's like taking a picture. In less than a second, it's captured it on this device. This device has a SD slot where the digital images or pictures that you take will be stored. They'll be stored on the SD card here, and this SD card then can be taken to a Macintosh, a Windows, any other device, and you can get the images that are on here onto your computer so that you could then, what we'll talk about later, edit them and organize them. And the nice thing about this is it's all self-contained. You don't connect it to a computer, so you don't even have to have a computer to scan it in. You just do it. And the advantage of not having a computer, the older models of film scanners and negative scanners were specific to certain versions of Microsoft Windows or a Macintosh. So as new versions came out, the companies wanted to sell you a new scanner. This, you don't have to because it's not connected to Windows. It's not dependent on a version of Windows. So it'll work with any version of Windows or a Macintosh or any device there. This is another example that if you go out to Amazon or are looking for how to capture negatives or slides, this is shown as a device. Very similar to this device up here where you have a light source that shines light through the bottom, and then you put your slide or negative in here, but instead of a built-in camera, this uses your smartphone to capture the image. I don't recommend these devices. You'll see a number of these devices, and they've come out in the last probably 3 years. Prior to that, you didn't have this type of device. I don't recommend it because it's not as good a quality as what these devices are here. So even though you'll see these out on Amazon or in Best Buy or in places there, they sell for about $20 or something like that. I don't recommend them because this other device is so much better to use, and if you're going to go through the trouble of digitizing, you want the best that you can get. Okay, in addition to the devices to capture the digital image, what you're going to need is you're going to need software to edit and organize your photos. I happen to use a package called Google Picasa and Google Photos. And we talked, I had a presentation in February of this year and in March of this year on photo organizing and sharing and photo editing. I'll cover a little bit of that, but if you want more detail on different packages and options and stuff like that, you'll want to look at that presentation to get information there. Okay, some more tips. Before you start digitizing, whether it's your photos or your slides, delete or get rid of some of them. Don't keep every photo you've ever taken. If the quality is not that good, or you have multiple photos of the same thing, delete them. Your friends will thank you for that, so you don't have to keep everything. Excuse me. Organize your photos by year and month before you scan. If you don't know the exact date, give it your best guess. You can change the date at a later time by checking with friends or relatives on if they know when this photo was taken or what was done. And if you've got your photos in albums, usually the albums are associated with a year or an event, and you should be able to tell roughly when they were taken there. You also want to remove duplicate photos that you may already have digitized or gotten from other sources. So if you're combining photos that you have with ones that your siblings have or somebody else has, you'll want to get rid of the duplicates, because if you recall in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, when a lot of us took our film in to be developed, you had the option of getting 2 prints or 3 prints, and then you gave extra prints to family or stuff like that. So as you're digitizing some of these other albums or collecting photos from all these other sources, you're going to run into duplicate photos out there, and you want to get rid of the duplicates. And there are packages that'll automatically find the duplicates, and then you can delete them. I happen to use a package called VisiPix. If you have all Apple devices, Apple iPhotos has a feature to find the duplicates. So there's hundreds of ways to identify the duplicates and then delete the duplicates there. As you're scanning, I mentioned the scanner has a glass that you're putting the photos on, and you want to make sure that that glass is free of any dust or fingerprints. So if you've touched the glass, chances are you've gotten a little oil on it or you've gotten stuff on there. And you do want to make sure that that's clean, as sharp as can be. And what I recommend is one of the microfiber cloths. And the microfiber cloths, you can clean off the glass to make sure there's no oil or residue or dust on there. You also want to be careful not to touch the glass with your fingers, to put a photo on, and after it scans it to put the next one on. I actually use the photo from the previous one to kind of push it up where I can grab it without having my fingers touch the glass there and leave a fingerprint on there. That's also important if you have slides or negatives. You don't want to be putting fingerprints, or you don't want dust and that on there. You want to handle them by the edges, and in some cases you want to be using white cotton gloves if you're working with your slides and negatives and taking them out and putting them in the device. And if you're going to be doing a lot of them, you can go out to places like Amazon, or a number of stores will sell a pack of cotton gloves, white cotton gloves that you can use. You want to make sure and clean the images of dust and smudges before you scan them. You can use an air can, if you're familiar with those, to blow the dust off, or a brush to remove dust from slides and negatives, but you do want to clean them. Also, another tip, put your slides and negatives with the dull side, that's called the emulsion side, down. Because obviously if you have a negative or a slide, you can put this side up or you can put this side up. Well, if you put the wrong side up, the image is going to be reversed. Numbers won't read right, letters won't read right, so you do want it in the right orientation, and that'll give you the best scan also. After you do a little scanning, whether it's the photos or the slides or that, you'll get good at swapping it out and doing it. And I found when I was doing it that I could do about 200 photos an hour or 60 slides or negatives an hour. So it doesn't take real long. It's just that if you've got a whole bunch of albums, it's going to take a whole bunch of time there. But take your time and make sure that you have the clean surfaces and you get rid of the dust and that. If you have the original negatives and a scanner that supports, so if you have a device like this and you have the negatives, I'd recommend scanning the negatives as opposed to scanning the photos. So if you're one of those people that kept all the negatives and have it organized, you can just work from those. You don't have to scan the photos in a photo book there. And because in the photo book, chances are you have 3x5 photos or 4x6 photos. The negatives are going to be higher quality. Any scanner will do for photos. I mentioned I scan at 600 dots per inch, and I save the images as a JPEG file with 95% with only 5% compression. These are settings that when you set up your scanner, you can tell it what resolution and how to capture the image. And since you're going to be spending some time doing it, you want to make sure that you've got the right settings and you're getting the best quality that you can get. I also mentioned as you're going through things, if you're going through boxes from up in the attic or wherever, you may run into documents like awards, artwork, high school papers, drawings, yearbooks, newspapers, and other things. Well, that's where you can use your phone to capture, or if it fits on the scanner, on the flatbed scanner there, you can scan them that way. But collect as many of this memorabilia items as you have. To scan photos, if you have your photos in one of those albums that are plastic, and that you want to take them out of the plastic album, because if you leave them in there, You're not going to scan as good as if you take them out. So you do have to take them out, scan them, and then probably put them back into your album there. Some scanners have an automatic document feeder where you can place a stack of up to 25 and let it scan. The scanner that I showed does, you can put a stack in there. It, excuse me, got a little tickle. That works with some pictures. It doesn't work with some other pictures. And the reason for that is some of the pictures have a little curl to them, and the automatic document feeder, because it isn't completely flat, may or may not work. Try it on your scanner and see if it works. If it doesn't, you manually put one in, scan it, take out the other one, put in the second one, scan it, put in the third one, scan it, and so you work that way. Photos that are taped or glued to scrapbooks. So if you have some older photos or that, you can still scan in, use your scanner to scan it in there, and you can turn the page, the scrapbook page, so you're not peeling them off of the page. You can leave them on the page, but you can change the page to scan one photo at a time. The trick there is you want to keep the page as flat as possible against the glass. Be careful of sliding negatives in and out, because if you're not careful, you can put scratches and introduce dust and that to the negatives. I mentioned here some of the slides that I was working with were shot on film back in the 1960s with a film called Ektachrome. And Ektachrome is notorious for the colors going wild over the years, because you have to consider if it was shot in 1960, that's 65 years old. And some of the slides haven't aged well there. They may have spots and tints and stuff like that. If you have some older slides, in some cases, you can convert it to black and white with the editing, and that'll make the slide look presentable again, as opposed to with the spots and that. Okay, after you've digitized it, then you want to start editing and organizing the digital files that you have. You can use many packages to edit and organize your images. They range in price from free, so there's a lot of free stuff, up to probably $500. And so whether you use Windows or you have a Mac, you already have a photo package on there. But if you want something more sophisticated with more capabilities, then there's packages like Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Lightroom. Those can run up to like $500 a year. But they do have more features, more functions, more capabilities. The package I use and I recommend is actually free software that Google came out with a number of years ago. It's called Google Picasa. It's very fast, easy to use, provides very good editing and organization tools. Unfortunately, this package, Google no longer supports it. It still works in the Mac. It works on all versions of the Mac operating system, and it works on all versions of the Windows operating system, but Google isn't updating it. They quit updating it in 2016, so 9 years ago. But it still works, and like I say, I haven't found another free package that has all these tools and features and functions in it. And you can find it out on the internet, or contact me and I can send you a link if you have a Mac or a Windows to install the software. You can do most of what I'll show today and that I'll talk about today. You can do most of it in the free software that comes with Microsoft Windows. Microsoft Windows comes with a package called Microsoft Photos. And Macs come with a package called Apple Photos. Well, that lets you do many of the things that you'll see me do. It's just that Google or Picasa has a few more features and functions that makes it easier and faster for me to do some of these things. Also, I mentioned packages like there's websites and packages like Google Photos, which is free, or Adobe Lightroom, that's $120 a year. So there's a number of packages that are also available. Okay, the first thing that I usually do when I'm working with my digital, after I've digitized or scanned in the images, is I rotate the photos to make sure that they're in the right direction. I then edit or double click on it, so I click on it, and then what I do is I straighten it if it needs straightening. So if the photos is a little bit kittywampus or that, I can straighten it. And this is especially true if I've scanned in scrapbook images that may need a little more help. Then almost for every photo, I end up cropping it. I get rid of unneeded parts or parts of the photo that don't add anything. This way you're just making it, making the photo kind of stand out a little better. In Google Photos, it has an option called I'm Feeling Lucky, which automatically adjusts the color and the contrast. So rather than manually moving things or trying to get it fixed, you can automatically adjust some of these things. Google Photos also has a sharpen to get the photos a little bit sharper in that if needed. It also has an option to change it to black and white or sepia for non-color images. And it has an option to get rid of red eyes. And we've all lived through the 60s, 70s, and 80s where you took some photos of people and they looked like devils because their eyes were red. Well, that's because of the way that the flashes worked and how high they were. And so some photos you may have people with red eyes. You certainly want to clear that up if you can. And this is an example of a package that lets you do it. Picasso also keeps track of people on the photos. So it'll identify people and match people, and you can manually add people too. So this is another way to organize your photos. If the image still needs work, there's many other features that can be used to clean it up, but these are the most common things that I do when editing a photo. Then I go on to the next photo. And this whole process, I'll go through and show some examples. Once you're familiar with the package and doing things, it's maybe 30 seconds at the most per photo that I'll be doing. So it doesn't take long. Let's do a quick demo of Google Picasa editing there. So what I'll do here is I'm going to go into Google Picasa. These are some images that I've scanned. And so this is an example of I scanned a photograph in, and I scanned it, and I didn't change the scanner to only scan for a 3x5 photo. So this scanned the entire 8.5 by 11. So I end up with this. Well, the first thing that I would do here is I'd come in here and I'd crop it. Let's go in here, let's crop this. And you can see I'm getting rid of this fence adds nothing here. I'm just getting the people and I'm just getting the image there. So let's do that. There I am in the middle there. This is from the 1970s there. And it looks okay, except we can always improve the color and the contrast by doing this I Feel Lucky. And the I Feel Lucky automatically adjusts things to the best that it thinks the image should be there. And so you end up with a very nice photo there. And in this case, there's no red eyes in here. I didn't have to straighten it. I didn't have to do some other things. So at this point, I'm done editing this photo. I move on to the next one. Well, here's a picture of me in grade school. This one is a little cockeyed. So let's straighten it out. I go in here. I end up straightening this. I go in here. I crop this. So we'll crop this, get rid of the borders, and let's go here. And I do the I feel lucky, and it does a pretty good job there. Oh, there's a little hair or dust or something that was on here. So see there's a little blemish there or dust. I can get rid of that in this tool in a matter of seconds. I can go here, I can highlight it, and I got rid of it. So depending on the tool that you're using, you may be doing all these different things, cleaning up your photos, fixing them. This one looks okay. Let's move on to the next one. Here's another one. Let's go here. I don't have to straighten it. We'll crop it. Well, we don't need this ceiling part, but maybe we'll keep from like here down to here. We'll crop our image that size. We'll do the I feel lucky. All of a sudden we got our colors back. Don't have to change anything else. Everything looks okay there. Move on to the next image. Here's an image that is the wrong direction. I can quickly put it in the right direction. I can go in here. I can select crop this, and we're going to crop it like this. We're getting rid of all this space here. And then we'll do the I feel lucky, and we get back our good colors there. And so literally in a matter of seconds, I'm going through here and cleaning it up. And we'll talk about that photo in a little bit. Let's go back to our presentation. Where am I here? Yeah, let me get to the next slide. So that's simple editing, and once you get proficient at whatever package you're using, you can clean it up, you can crop it, you can get the items to look the way that you want. This is another option in the editing that I ran into, and actually this was in 2020, before the big AI push or whatever, but essentially this website, MyHeritage, it's a family genealogy service, but it also has a number of photographic services to do enhancements to your photos. And they offered free unlimited access to convert and sharpen old black and white photos to color. And I went through with a number of my photos and converted them. Colors always looks better than black and white photos, because people appear more natural and the examples can look great there. I have a free account on MyHeritage, and I use the PC program for doing family tree and genealogy, but this colorizing in that is trained on millions of images. The services use deep learning and artificial intelligence to identify living and non-living objects and colorize them accordingly. Grass is usually green, bricks are usually brown, the sky is usually blue, and it goes through and knows how to color things that way. The way the service works is you upload your image to the service, and then it works its magic in seconds, and then it lets you download the image. So very quick, very fast. I did have some trouble with a small percentage of photos that didn't convert well to color or had some problems. Also, because this was a free version that I was using, it put a watermark on each of the photos. But I did love the results, and I wasn't willing to pay for the other service to not have the watermark there. They also have other services to remove scratches or to animate a video of a person. So let's go, and let's go out. This is a website, or part of their website. So these are photo features in this MyHeritage, and they have a number of them: live memory, deep nostalgia, MyHeritage in color, where it'll colorize the photos, enhancing to sharpen it, photo repair, photo dater. So if you can't tell when a photo was made, it can do its best guess based on the style of the clothes, the style of the cars maybe in the background, or things like that. It'll try and figure out a date when it was taken. But they have a number of these services that they provide, and whether it's enhancing the photos or colorizing them, just all kinds of. So there's an example, and I'll show you some of the examples that I did. Let's take a look at that quickly. Let me go here and here. So this is an example. This is an example of my great-great-great-grandfather from 1880. It's a nice picture. It's black and white there, but I ran it through and I colorized it and sharpened it up. And so you can take some old photos and experiment and see what you want. This is a photo of my dad. My dad's right back there. He has joined us. And my mom from their wedding in 1952. Well, all the photos were in black and white. But I ran it through, and this is the color version. And it does a pretty good job. Bricks are brown and things like that. The one thing that we know that it got wrong is it took his bow tie and made it a red bow tie, and he said he had a black bow tie. He didn't have a red bow tie. So the colorizing isn't perfect, but you know, this picture compared to this picture, I'd rather see the color picture, and it's looks much better there. Here's an example here. This is myself here, and my sister Mary, and my brother Andy here. It's a nice picture in black and white, or in this case sepia tone. Here it is in color. So you know, you can make these pictures come alive and things like that. Here's another example. This is my dad reading a book to my sister, and this is a photo that is seen some tough times. There's complete areas out of the photo. The photo had been in probably some moisture or things like that. It had been damp. You had some soiling of the photo in that. Well, I enhanced it to a black and white. This is what it looks like, and then colorized it. And this is what it looks like color. So you can take some of these old images that you have and really do the magic on there and make them sparkle there. Okay, let's go back. Okay, 1 second here. Pull that up. Okay, so the next thing after you've edited and maybe colorized and gotten things all nice, what you want to do is kind of a final step is kind of naming and organizing the digitized files that you created. So I mentioned I use Picasa. In Picasa, I end up renaming the files and giving them a meaningful name. And I give them a meaningful name that starts with the year that I thought that they were taken, the month, and the day, and then this is a relative number for the photo. So this way, once you change the names of the files, they can be sorted, and you can get all of them from 1940 or 1950 all together, and you can get the stuff going there. The other thing is you want to adjust the date and the time that is associated with that image that you scanned. When you scan an image, it has a date of the date that you scanned it. So if I scanned a photo that was from my dad's wedding in 1952, it'd have today's date on it. Well, I want it to have a date in 1952, so you want to use the tool to change to have the right date on there. So That's a function or a feature that you have to go through and do or should do. Technically, you don't have to do anything, but if you didn't do anything, all your photos that you scanned today would have the same date, and it'd look like, oh, they were 2025 they were taken, not 1950 or whenever, 1960, whenever they really were taken. Another thing you can do with the photos is you can do what's called geotagging, or using GPS. When you use your smartphone today and you take a photo, it gets tagged with a GPS location, which makes it handy to search for things. So if you're on a vacation and you're out in Washington, D.C., and you take a photo, now whenever I want to find, I can do a search and say, show me all the photos from Washington, D.C., and it'll find it because it knows that these are taken in Washington, these are taken in St. Paul, these are taken in wherever there. Well, when you scan something in, it doesn't know where they were taken. So you have to kind of manually go in and say, these photos were taken in this town, or I was on vacation in Puerto Rico, and they were taken in Puerto Rico. So you go in and you can add that information if you want. You don't have to do all these, but if you want to make your photos as accessible as possible, you want to add this additional information. You can also add tags to help search and organize your photos. So you can add tags for people that identify the people, or you can identify these photos as being birthday photos or Christmas photos or wedding photos, such that at any time you want to do a search, you can easily find these different photos. You can put the images, or you should put the images, into folders by year. Also, if you had a whole bunch of them or that, you may create a separate folder for a trip or an event, something like, in this case, 1974 Christmas. If you had a whole bunch of photos, you could put them in a folder by that. So this is just another way to organize your photos. Within Picasa, everything that you're doing is only visible within the package, which means that if I want to share this with people up on the internet or in a cloud, make it available to other people, I first have to export the photos out of Picasa, and then I'd upload them to the service that I was using, and then I'd share them up there. So that's an extra step that you usually do at the end. After you're done editing, after you're done organizing, you want to make those photos that you were editing on your laptop or desktop, you want to share them with a service up on the internet there. Once you've exported the photos, then you'd upload them to a service like Google Photos or Apple iPhotos. You'd upload them to those services there. You also want to make sure that you do back up your images and share your images. I use both external hard drive and I use a website to back up and make sure that the stuff is out there. With Google, you get 15 gigabytes of free space. Once you run out of that, you have to purchase additional space. Apple has the Apple iCloud and iPhotos up there. They give you 5 gigabytes of space, and then you have to pay for additional space. Amazon Prime, if you're an Amazon Prime member, you can upload an unlimited number of photos and share them with people, and it doesn't cost you anything there. So there's different options on where to put your photos and how to share it. And more detail on that is in those previous presentations in February and March of this year. So we'll take a quick look at Google Photos, show you what I have. So I can use my browser here. I can go out to Google Photos from any machine on any device. So whether it's an Apple device, an Android device, a Chromebook, a Windows, I have access to this this photo repository anywhere in the world on any of my devices. And the first thing that it shows me is it shows me my albums. I've organized it, like I said, there's certain events that I have in here, but for most of the old ones there, it's just year by years. And I have years going all the way back to that great-great-great-great-grandfather back in the 1800s there. There's photos from 1800 to 1829 there. And I can look at those. And some of these are colored and some of them aren't. And so you can organize it that way by year. I can also go back here and let's say I wanted to go to 1961. Let's go to 1961. Well, here I am with my brother in 1961 there. So you can organize your photos any way that you want there. And share them with all the different people. And once you start sharing them with people, and they can get notified when you add new photos, and there's different things that can be done. Let's go here. So it's a case here of, let's go. So this lets me, if I wanted to find photos that I was in or my dad was in, I can just click on this, and it's going to go through all my photos and start showing where he is. And there's literally thousands of photos out here. So once you've got them up there, you have kind of unlimited access to share them with people, to view them, and to do these other functions there. Let's go here. Okay, that's the end there. Questions or comments?